no matter which version you go for, you can always use this car for off-road driving, also for serious off-road driving. This one here features this very long bumper here also in the very front. That's of course it's totally different to any other car you see on the market. Then this typical vertical front grille that has been there since the Willys MB Jeep. The length is at 4.88 meters or 16 foot for the 4-door version or 5-door, and 4.33 meters or 14 foot 2 for the 3-door version. Those are the street tires already. With the Rubicon version you can even get off-road tires. Those are street tires. And that's one of the things that is cool about the Wrangler. So what about this hardtop? It's actually quite easy to remove it in the front. Remove this clamp, and then they're here 1, 2, 3. That was it. And then you can already take it out like this. And then you basically have some Jeep convertible. And yes, you can see it here. Even the windshield can be unmounted or folded flat in the front, like with those very old traditional military versions. That's also the reason you have those plastic protectors there, that the windshield can actually just lie there. But it will be quite windy on the interior, I can promise you. In the rear, of course, with a characteristic replacement tire there. That's also the reason why the rear hatch is opening sideways. That's with the real off-road vehicles. Soon we'll explain more about the trunk area. You can see those LED rear lights, the LED daytime running signature here in the rear. Also has this somewhat X shape. So I told you, you can almost unclamp everything with this vehicle and leave it just with the chassis, and well, you also can unclamp the front hood. And here in the very front, by the way, there's no help to open this one. You just have to do it manually, basically to flip it to the sides, and then no hydraulic struts, because that would be also not suitable for a rugged vehicle. This one here today, the 2.2 liter diesel with 200 horsepower. That would be the main engine for Europe. Let's take a look at the interior together. You see how slim those doors are, so you can very well look to the outside side from the inside. And then we have, for example, door openers from the inside, which look like the clamps we have on the front hood. Very nice. Electric window support. Just a net here for securing some stuff at the inside of the doors. I'm 1.86 or 6'1", and leaves plenty of headroom still. That's absolutely no problem. Also for taller people, it's actually no problem to sit here. The steering column can be adjusted in height and reach with a smooth process. Interior overview with a rugged, strong design, all vertically oriented and super flat in this perspective. Some contrast stitches right there. You start with 3.5 screen on the left and 7-inch on the right. Optional then 7-inch on the left and 8.4-inch here on the right, the biggest one that is available, and the biggest one so far then in this Jeep Wrangler. Heated steering wheel is also available. Classic climate control, you can control it like this. Instruments, left side RPM and right side speed analog, and then you can have digital speed also in the middle part, mph or kilometers per hour, or also consumption figures and tire pressure, and also what's going on with the drivetrain, for example. And on this left screen you can also see which driving mode you are in at the moment. Infotainment screen up close. Let's take a look at that map. You can see they also worked on the responsiveness. You can zoom in and out on that pretty well. You can connect your phone either via Bluetooth, or also Apple CarPlay is available here with the apps, and Android Auto. Both 3 and 5-door were made longer just a little bit here in the new generation, and so we also have more legroom. As I said, the seat is all the way back, and I still can sit here. It's getting a little bit close, but for 4 tall adults it works also here with the rear. By the way, I'm then with my head already over the roll bar. So just, you know, inside of this top roof part, but over the roll bar with my head. So let's open that rear hatch. Always fun to see. And by the way, this one here then also folds up. If you think about slamming it back again, don't do that, because then this happens. So always just put it slowly back and then it's keeping tight. So there we go. If you want to flip those seats, you can also do it from here. If you reach over right there and then they're already flipped here, you can put this stuff down too, and that works quite well with flipping it. You can of course also go around depending on how you want to do it. Do it like this. Oh, here we go. And so you get a very even loading surface. In general, this driving feeling is also so special because you have the great upright seating position, you have a good overview to everyone, you look down on everyone. To the front, well, this is a little bit caged in, it's dark on top. You see also on camera how dark it is here with the closed top and this very small windshield. And you look down to this front hood, it always makes every ride to the next baker or something a special experience, unlike you would have just with the car that you bought just for getting from A to B. This is really unique. Also with the dashboard layout, you see, even if you're just driving here on the road, you feel like, wait a minute, when's my next off-road experience beginning? So that's the great thing about this vehicle. And as you know, I'm also an off-road driver, 2-wheel and 4-wheel. I just love the stuff. And so I really appreciate the features that this car is having. Also, by the way, when you look to the rear there, with the upright windows, you can see everything very well. And then you also have the blind spot monitor if you like that. So some more assistance systems here for this generation. That's also the advantage of modernizing everything with this vehicle. Back to those tires, they have a lot of rubber there left, especially here with the winter tires, and so it is a little bit shaky on the road, so you don't get a stiff experience. Of course, an off-road suspension, that's really cool, so the car is very comfortable in the ride. It doesn't shake up too much, that's okay, you know, when you turn the steering wheel. But sometimes on the road, especially if there are some road ruts, you feel the car is searching its way on its own and you have to work against it. And that's actually desired when driving off-road, that the car searches its own best way through the mud. That's also the reason why those off-road steerings are not that progressive. So you will also see when I'm going in the next roundabout very soon, I have to turn the steering wheel a lot. It's light to turn, but you have to steer a lot. And that is desired when driving off-road, because when off-roading you don't need sudden steering wheel movements, and you also want the car to search its own way a little bit. However, when street driving at higher speeds, that can be a little bit annoying. Yesterday I was on a longer motorway trip and also with higher speed, and it was very, very windy. And I was constantly working the steering wheel to keep the car in lane. That can be a little bit exhausting. This 2.2 liter diesel we drive here today, let's accelerate 80 kilometers or from 50 miles to 100 kilometers. Let's go. Yeah, it was a little bit too early for me, but almost. So, but that you see also on the camera, that was pretty quick. So even at some higher speeds, this small engine still got power reserve. So acceleration figure, as I told you earlier, below 10 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. That's totally okay. So you get along with that. And the consumption is also totally okay considering the size of the vehicle. So that's about 8 liters on 100 kilometers for motorway driving and 10 liters on 100 kilometers for city driving with more stop and go. That would be 29 mpg for the motorway and 23 mpg for the city driving. And something in between we also scored recently with the Audi Q8, for example. And they're both approximately the same size as for the length, you know. Well, it has been a lot of fun for me today with the Jeep Wrangler, and this new generation is for sure a little bit more normal car-like as for the driving experience, because it's more silent, it's a little bit easier to ride, to drive and so on. You get more infotainment system, blah blah blah, but it still stays with a true characteristic of the Jeep Wrangler. You can see it here on the exterior, it's still a very rugged car. The interior also with the design still very off-road capable. Just when you look at the side of the window, that's the thing, you know, you can see all of the obstacles and so on. And funny also that you can remove this hardtop. This has remained the same, a little bit easier here now in the new generation. But as I said earlier, you can also go for other versions if you appreciate the open top feeling a little bit more and want to, you know, be a little bit more flexible, for example, with a soft top or the dual top. The room that's offered in the interior is also quite okay, and you have to think about in the 5-door version, it's really already a big SUV if you compare it to other modern SUVs. The thing is that when you go higher speeds, then you feel this off-road character, so this is a disadvantage, of course, driving on higher speeds on the street. But then again, this one really stays off-road capable all the time. So is it also a lifestyle SUV? Well, somewhat if you think about the fun factor, because it is really, really unique and a lot of fun in driving, because you always think, oh, your next off-road experience is, you know, maybe about to start. But you have, of course, to live with the off-road features it comes when you go for street driving. So it's for sure pro and con. But that's why this vehicle is bought by enthusiasts who don't care if it's a little bit, you know, wobbly at 120 kilometers an hour on the motorway. Therefore, you can still go up, you know, maybe those logs behind us. Shall we try that out? And I hope to see you then sometime next soon at a real off-road driving episode of this one. That would be amazing.